Good morning, Pat Zemer here with Magna Wave on the Magna Wave Office Hours. We come to you every Tuesday morning to answer your questions, to discuss the health aspects of PEMF therapy and Magna Wave. So we're glad to be here with you this morning. We are on YouTube, Facebook, and the Castbox app or the Castbox Live. So if you prefer to use Castbox or want to listen as you drive like you're listening to the radio, please tune in or follow the link to Castbox. I don't know if we have that link at this point. Do we, Tony, still have that link? Not sure if we have it. That's okay. We'll worry about that later. We're trying to fine-tune how we are, in fact, doing these different broadcasts so people can listen to us in any way they feel that they might like to. So there you have it. If you have a question you'd like to ask, just simply put it in the Facebook chat box and it'll come up to me and I'll be able to answer it for you. If you'd like to talk with me, you can send a text to 502-599-9722, I believe is the correct number, and I will be able to give you a call back and we can have a discussion at that point in time. 502-599-9722 if you'd like to send me a text, and I'll give you a call back. Or good morning, Hazel. Hazel's on Castbox, so we're going in several different Hazel's watching us on Facebook, I'm sorry. So let's see here. I do have a couple of questions that were discussed. If you'd like to talk about something, again, put your question in. I do have a Julian here with me this morning if you want to talk about the Julian, or I'll go over it here in just a second. That's the newest machine we've added to the Magna Wave line, which we're excited about, introducing the Julian. Tim's with us this morning. Good morning, Tim. Had a question where someone was talking about treating a horse or even a person with fluid on the lungs. Well, certainly what you want to be able to do there is to just continue to improve the oxygenation of the body so the cellular network of the body can better do its job. By that, if you improve, for example, the chest area, how the lungs operate, how they can breathe and function properly by using PEMF to stimulate that area, you can certainly potentially have an effect on the fluid in the lungs to help it be moved away. Certainly, if you're treating a horse or a person, you always want to consult with the veterinarian or the doctor who is taking care of that particular situation, so you're operating within the guidelines of what they want. Basically, what we're doing by performing such a treatment is providing more energy to the body, so it's in a more healthy or moving towards a more healthy position to, in fact, be able to work on itself and heal itself in a better manner. So certainly to treat a person in that type of situation could be beneficial to their overall health of the body. Let's see if anyone's asked a question here. Let's take a look at Castbox. So here we go. Let's see. You sound like a good AM radio station. Okay. Someone on Castbox talking about a good AM radio station. Spent some time on AM radio stations in a previous life. Not a previous life, but a previous time of my life, doing some of this very thing, a talk show in a local community where we talked about day-to-day news and politics and all that kind of stuff. That's not what we're doing here today. Another question that comes to us, I got a 22-year-old with chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is a inflammation of the brain caused from concussions. Used to be a happy kid, doesn't smile anymore. What would you do to treat? Well, certainly you want to treat I would simply maybe use a coil over the head to treat the lungs and the head area to give, again, good oxygenation, blood flow that can maybe help the inflammation that's troubling this person, to help them be able to get some of that inflammation taken care of, to maybe get them on the direction of better healing that you may want. And so again, that's the type of thing. Anytime you're dealing with the brain, and interestingly enough, I'm writing a chapter in a book based on brain health, and we're working with a doctor in California, Dr. Lyons, who's going to do a study specifically on concussions, and how he believes that our type of high voltage Magna Wave PEMF therapy can be beneficial to the brain and the healing process dealing with concussions and that type of injury. So that'll be something that's really going to start very soon. Within the next few weeks, Dr. Lyons will be implementing this with this study that we've been working with him on, and to see various and to record how PEMF, MagnaWave high, and he's doing high intensity or high voltage PEMF type of signal to hopefully help with those types of situations, because he's seen a lot of promising results utilizing the PEMF. So he's going to just do it in a fashion that he records, documents, and keeps up with everything that he's doing through the period of this study that he's going to pursue for himself, but utilizing our equipment. So we're excited about that, and certainly to treat the brain. A lot of times they talk now about depression being a result of inflammation in the brain, and that can lead to some depressive states, and certainly inflammation from concussions and Alzheimer's. They talk about Alzheimer's having a result of being or impacted by inflammation in the brain. I've been experimenting with myself, treating my head, dealing with, not that I'm forgetting anything or anything like that, but I just want to test and see how cognition is maintained and improved on myself as I advance a little bit in age here. I'm not going to talk about that. as we do that, we all have to face that. But interestingly enough, when you talk about this with concussions, let me go back here and check and just make sure there's nothing else. Okay, a lot of people listening on different, there we go, on different formats, the Castbox, Facebook, and YouTube. But so what I did, and we all talk about this as we age. We say, what's this person's name, or what I was going to go over here, and you think, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, you as you age, you notice that, and you think about it, and you think, gee, I don't want that to. Am I having a problem? Is it going to develop into a problem? Well, Alzheimer's and dementia and all that are big issues that people have to deal with. Well, what I started doing, and I would notice that what's this person's name, or what is that on the window there? Is it a frog? Is it a mosquito? Is it a fly? I mean, you know what it is. And I'm saying frog because I was with somebody a couple weeks ago, and we were at their house, and there was a frog on the window, kind of a little baby frog, kind of moving up the window, and I'm looking, look at that, and I'm trying to say frog. And it just didn't hit to that it was a frog, and everybody said, well, what is it? Well, it's a one of those kind of things. So at that point, I began to say, all right, I'm going to treat myself, and regularly, on a nightly basis and on a daily basis, to treat my head and brain and just see if I notice any change or improvement. And interestingly enough, and this is not a situation, I'm not trying to be to talk about anything, but interestingly enough, this was a thing that I noticed regularly. That what am I trying to say? What's this thing that I can't remember? And since I've been treating my head regularly, and I do it the same way, I'll put it directly on my head, or I'll put it on my shoulders and go this way, or I also have a B2 that I have at home that I often sleep with to help me sleep, and I put the mat under my pillow, so I'm treating my shoulders and my head under my pillow as I sleep. When I do that regularly, I have not noticed as much situation of maybe forgetting what something is or can't remember what I'm trying to talk about. So all I'm going for here is, can improved blood flow and oxygenation to the brain and upper body through your lungs be beneficial to anything that could happen to help you stay younger, if you will? That's one of the things that Dr. Lyons is going to look at in his study. Is he will be able to do a test, and I can't remember the name of it. He sent me a note about it the other day, that determines your brain age. The health of your brain, the age that your brain is as far as the aging process, how it begins to deteriorate in various areas potentially, or not work as well in various areas. And that's one of the things that he wants to accomplish with his study that he's going to do on concussions and brain injuries and things like that, is to reestablish the brain's age and see if he can improve the brain's age as he does his tests and his studies with regard to brain health and using high intensity, high voltage MagnaWave in this study. If you have any questions, give me a call. I'd be happy to, if you want to chime in on CastBox, we can try that. I'm a little concerned how we're going to do the audio on CastBox because we got a little bit of feedback last week, so we'll see how that may work. But if you have a question, you want to send me a text, I'd be happy to give you a ring and we can answer your questions, whatever they may be, or post it in chat in the chat box. Let's see if we got something. Oh, let's see here. Good morning. Trying 6 frequency healing. What machines are you using on your head? Good conversation. Question, John. I am using a Pulse Pro on my head. I'm using the B2, which is the lowest power machine that we have, and I have used the Semi machine on my shoulders and head also. So actually any machine that we have, because they're all doing the same thing, they're all producing a ringer type of signal. Now I'm not trying to set us, I am trying, the MagnaWave family, certainly I'm going to discuss our machines and what we do, but I have noticed that those are the devices that I use, and I've used all 3 of them, the B2, the Pulse Pro. Certainly you could use in fact, I have a Max in the MagnaWave Express. No, I take that back. It's a Maya. I have a Maya in the MagnaWave Express that we use on a regular basis. And I was on the Express over the weekend and used the Maya machine. So I use the Maya, the Semi, the Pulse Pro, and the B2 are the devices that I've used in treating my shoulders and head. Great question, John. Let's see, what attachments did you, okay, missed that part. Catherine asked the question, what attachments do I use? Again, I use the butterfly. I'll take the butterfly and place it on my head or at the back of my skull like this. And on occasion, I've opened it to where I have one part of the butterfly on either side. I'll use the large loop by placing it on my shoulders, and I'm going this way with the signal from the large loop like that. When I'm using the B2, I'm using the mat that you could use on your back or whatever, but I place it under my pillow, and so I rest my head on the pillow. It's kind of a little my sleeping routine when I'm using the B2 is kind of a interesting thing, but I wake up occasionally through the night, so I will use the B2. I'll treat my head and shoulders for a period of time because it'll run for 8 hours on the setting that I use, and then I'll use it and I'll basically rest. I'll treat my prostate area or my low back and prostate area, so I'll do that for a period of time, and then I'll move it down and I rest my feet on the pad because I've had some aging. God, what am I doing talking about all this old stuff? But at any rate, so I'll rest my feet on the mat, and it has helped my age-related neuropathy tremendously. I don't just it was a time last year what was driving me absolutely crazy, and to what I would describe today is totally under control. It doesn't bother me. I don't think about it. It just has not been a problem, and I treat my feet and my lower legs regularly. Certainly, I've told you about my prostate scare 2 or 3 years ago, so I treat my my urinary tract and my body, my prostate area of my body regularly, and now I'm doing my head. So I'm moving these pads through the night. It's interesting. Let's just put it that way. But as long as everything's working the way I want it to, and I feel okay, it's something that I can do and talk about and how I use it. So those are the attachments, John, that I use when I'm treating myself currently. Let's see. Fibromyalgia does that very frustrating. Fibromyalgia is a tough one because it has a tendency to move around the body. Today it's here, tomorrow it's over there, and so we're just working, and all we're doing is supplying energy to the body so the body can be in a better position to do what it needs to do. And so chasing which quite often happens with fibromyalgia, and it's a very chronic type of situation. So, to talk about how the impact this type of therapy can have on it long term would be very interesting thing to see. But sometimes it takes time to get the results that you're looking for or the comfort that you're looking for. Kind of like Parkinson's. We had some folks who suffer from Parkinson's speaking at MagnaCon, and there's whole issues there as to how something like this, with providing additional energy to the body, can help relieve some of the symptoms and things in people that work with or suffer from with Parkinson's and other types of situations. So let's see. Good morning, Nancy. Good morning, Sean's with us. Good morning, Idle Hour. Maureen, good morning. Lisa, good morning. Let's see. Treating feet is amazing for any reason. Maureen, thank you. And that is the truth. I mean, we started treating feet really started thinking about feet I treated a woman years ago. She had a headache, and so I treated the back of her head with the butterfly loop, and it kind of helped relieve her headache. And she was telling me, well, I twisted my ankle. This was a horse person, and she had twisted her ankle. She wanted me to treat her feet, and so I treated her head for her headache, and she was feeling a little better. Then I went and I placed the loop on the ground, and I put her feet in the loop on the ground, and within just a few minutes, not only did her foot feel better, but her headache was almost like she said, my goodness, since you've done this, you've treated both, this has greatly helped my headache. So we began at that point treating feet at the same time we would treat the head. Now if you talk to a reflexologist, they'll certainly talk about the feet and stimulating various areas of the foot and so forth. And the Magna Wave, the high voltage PEMF energy delivered into the body, will help stimulate the reflexology points that are beneficial to wherever it is in the body. So we use the feet in conjunction. And that's the point that Maureen makes, is it's always helpful and beneficial to treat the feet because of the basis or the whole thought of reflexology. You might want to do some Google search and check out reflexology and see what you may be thinking. Okay, when will you be launching the aesthetic face attachment? I'm working at a plastic surgery practice in Northeast Ohio. We are, in fact, working on the design of that at this point. Basically, what it's going to be is a flexible mat that we will have a loop into the mat in an Archimedes type of coil that will be able to be placed on the face and flexed. So you'll be able to mold it basically to your face if someone would want to do that. They could hold it close, or they could rest it right on their face very comfortably. Now, so we're kind of thinking about that to be able to have the coil to cover the entire face. You could certainly do the same thing by utilizing the large loop that you would hold to the face, or the butterfly or the paddle, whatever. The paddle's a little more rigid. So we're looking at something that can be more flexible, and we're taking this down to where it can multiple purpose, to where someone could have it for their hands and kind of wrap it around their hand like this. So it's going to be a flexible pad or mat that's probably let's say 8 by 12 or something like that will be easily flexible. We're working on that. Great question, and we'll let you know as that comes available. Let's see, one more here. After treating a deep tissue foot injury on a horse with the box and zoom coil plus full body, I seem to get sensitivity of the feet the next day, but the really good results after 48 hours. What causes this, and is it normal? Well, it kind of depends. If you're treating the feet and you just want to have good circulation to the foot, you want to watch how you adjust the intensity. If it's not an abscess or something like that, but you are dealing with the foot injury, putting energy there is important. I don't want to say if you put too much, but if you put a lot of energy into the area, it is possible, like a deep tissue massage. If you've ever had a deep tissue massage, you get a good massage, and the next day you're a little sore from the massage, but the following day you feel much better. Well, we're able to do that without the sensitivity that comes the second day. So you'd have the same thing in the foot of a person or the foot of a horse. So you want to what I would do in that case is just treat on a very, what I would call, moderate setting if you're looking just to help heal the tissue. We go up higher if we're trying to move an abscess or something out of the hoof or have it to blow. So those are the things to keep in mind. If you're getting sensitivity the second day, I would lower the intensity that you are supplying the therapy with initially, and see how that impacts it as well. So what I would think is you'd be able to, second day you would not have the sensitivity, and then the really good results the next day. That goes back, I've told this story about one of my very first customers, and she wanted to use this. She treated her horse, and she went to the ring. She treated her horse at 2 2 o'clock, went to the ring at 3 o'clock, and the horse didn't much care about going to the ring. So, but the next day, the horse jumped like a champion. So that's when we started to learn that there's a proper time and the best time to do some of these treatments to get the results you want in competition, or the same thing in the healing process. So just and if you have a question about that, simply post it, call the office, and we'll certainly help you with those types of questions as they come up. Let's see. Do you do the feet on the highest setting? Okay, two things. Do you do the feet on the highest setting? If I'm treating my feet and there's no issue or nothing going on, I turn it up pretty good. I turn it up as high as it may allow me to do that. Is that necessary, as I was just discussing, with a foot injury? No. But you can turn it up to a higher setting to get good flow and good oxygenation and get almost a massaging effect on your feet at that time. So whatever's comfortable to you, but is it necessary to treat it on the highest setting? No. Let's see. I have a major foot tarsal relief. I have had major foot tarsal relief from treatments. Perfect. We always like to hear that. Can I treat a kid with cochlear implants? It's a good question. If they are not, I don't believe, need to look that up, and I'll do that and try to get you an answer that you're looking for. I don't believe there's any battery or anything like that with the implant. If something is implanted, certainly you would want to talk, have your person that you're talking about treating to find out what their doctor would say about treating the area. Now, if you're not treating the area itself, if you're treating the shoulders or the low back or something like that, or the neck, it should not be any kind of issue. The doctor may say don't treat the ear, but you'd want to talk with the doctor and see what's going on to see what specifically you're trying to treat. And maybe that's something that you can share with us, Christy, is what area are you treating? I have a question here. Traveling to Italy and Scotland with the Simi. Since the adapter not recommended, sine wave adapter not recommended to use with hair dryer, is that okay for the Simi? Okay, when you're traveling to other countries with the Simi and the Maya machines are what we call smart devices. You plug them into the wall, they will recognize the power that's coming from the wall and operate and switch their mechanism to operate appropriately or accordingly. So any type of adapter, you don't need a transformer or anything like that. You just need an adapter that will plug into the wall that will accept your standard plug from the Simi or Maya device. So that would be something that would accept a 3-prong US type of plug into the adapter that plugs into the wall for your travels, and everything should be fine. The Simi and Maya have basically a surge protector built into the device, so it just helps recognize the power that's coming to it. But that's exactly what I would do in my travels with that machine. I got a question from Lisa, but let's take a quick look over here and see if there's anything going on. Any questions? No questions there. In cast box, let's see. I find that I use the large loop less than the other accessories. What are the best uses for the 24-inch large loop? Well, there's a couple of ways, and Lisa, I don't know if you're treating animals or people, but with that large 24-inch loop, something you can do is you can put it over the shoulders. You put kind of like a jacket. You'd put one arm through each loop, and you'd put it on like this, and so you're going to treat the whole shoulder area if you're doing a person, plus the chest area. You can take it if someone is laying down and lay it on their back, to put it down their back, and then lay it on their chest, so you're treating all the way through the body in both directions. You can do the same thing on the hips. You can place it if you're doing the hips and low back. You can rest your buttocks in the loop itself and put the other one over the top. That would be very beneficial for circulation issues, potentially for incontinence issues, so on and so forth. So that would be a few ways to use it in what you're doing. So when you're talking about the 24-inch large loop, if you're talking about the 12-inch or whatever size it is, large loop, people find and they use the attachments that they're comfortable with. We've had people come in and go through training and go home and use the Zoom paddle. That's all they use, or they use it the most. When I was treating, I was using the butterfly more than anything when I do standard treatments. But then I would use the large loop. Again, the large loop every time, if you close it, so if you wrapped it around your arm and closed it on both sides, so there'd be a little loop here and a little loop here, it's not a butterfly, but the signal's going up and down. So you could wrap it on your arm and move up and down your arm. Many different ways to use the various attachments to achieve the results and what you're looking for to have better energy and oxygenation delivered in the body, delivered to the body. All right, let's see here. Is it safe to treat with stents in the heart? Amanda asked the question. My wife has 2 stents in her heart, treats her head, neck, and shoulders and chest regularly. We discussed this with her doctor, and there's nothing electric, there's nothing going on with the stents. You're not going to move them, you're not going to do anything like that. So typically you would check with your physician and make sure that everything is cool from their perspective, but there's nothing to interfere treating with a stent in the heart. As I said, my wife does it. My wife has she has a wire mesh hole repair in her heart, 2 stents, and she's doing great, and she looks great, and the whole 9 yards, but she has that going on, and it's never been an issue with her treating herself, shoulders and around that part of her body. But again, always check. I was working on a client's horse yesterday. It was the first time that I noticed the horse's nose draining. He's not snot dripping. He had snot dripping. Is this normal? He was enjoying the treatment, licking and yawning. Thanks. Well, that's just part of the release. By your treating the animal, you could be helping with the improved oxygenation and blood flow, clearing sinuses, help things going on in the horse's head. The horse is so relaxed that he's allowing the release of various fluids and so forth. So that is, I've experienced all of that: the licking, the drooling, the snot type of situation. It's all basically a relaxation type of situation. And again, if you're treating the neck, head area, you could help clear up some congestion, and that can be released at the same time. So it's not abnormal, it's not a problem. There's nothing going on from that type of situation. If you had a horse, now you always, licking and drooling, and again the release, nostril release, I've seen over the years and never been an issue. If you're concerned, ask the veterinarian what they think, and from that perspective, and certainly always go with their thoughts and what they're thinking. Let's do a quick look over here. Okay, all right, nope, everything's good there. Okay, let's see, another question. My horse has major arthritis. If I keep treating, can I skip injections? And if I do it consistently, will it be as good as getting stem cell injections? Well, Dawn, that's a huge question. We have found over the years that if you treat regularly, you can reduce the need for injections. In some cases, horses didn't need to have injections. Can it enhance the length that the injections will hold? Most certainly. Typically, you'll give an injection, it'll help relieve the inflammation, and then it begins to build back up. If you're treating through that process, you can keep the inflammation from building during that whole type of process and time. So the more you treat, in many instances, if you have an arthritic situation or you have things like that, the longer the more you treat, the longer the results last. So a short answer to your question is, can you skip injections? Well, that's really, your veterinarian's going to tell you that, or you're going to talk about the competitive nature of your horse or what you're doing with the horse or the animal, whether or not the injections will be needed. But you can certainly potentially reduce the need for as many injections if you're in a competitive type of situation. Will it be as good as getting stem cell injections? Again, that is a veterinary type of question. Studies have shown that the use of this can aid in the stem cell production in the body and for healing purposes and being healthy and that whole thing. So it can aid in the development of stem cells in the body. PEMF will help with that type situation. Now, of course, today there's various procedures that they use to get stem cells to a particular area of injury and what's going on there. Again, that's based on how chronic something is, what the acute situation may be, what caused the injury or the situation, and how you deal with that. But if you help the body maintain a good, healthy type situation, could you potentially avoid needing to go down the route of stem cells? Perhaps. Again, you're just allowing the body to be in a situation to better work with its own healing processes and move that along. I know there are people, we did it with a dog that had very severe hip dysplasia and was going to need a surgery, and we found that we treated this dog regularly. We did not ever need, it was a boxer that are notorious for this type of problem, did not ever need the surgery. We would treat, and we treated the dog regularly, but she would get to the point that she was fine, and so she'd play and run. But if she ran too hard, she'd come back gimping. We'd have to treat her, that type of thing. But we did not need the surgery. So there are times when people can work with issues in their body, supplement energy to the body, help the body be healthier, and maybe can keep things at bay from needing to have surgeries or have injections or whatever it may be. Everything works very well in concert, so that's the best way to take a look at it. I can't say for a fact because we aren't veterinarians and that's not what we do, but you can work closely with your vet to see how this can prohibit or prevent something from potentially being needed. Let's see. My horse has major, we did that. It's a kid that was born with a type of cerebral palsy, I believe. This is Christy was asking a question. He was told they would never even roll over when he was 6 months old. Now is maybe 9 years old, walking and running on her own, just trying to help the family out. The girl has come so far already. I live in Africa, so medical treatment is not as high here as it is back home. We have had people with cerebral palsy that we have treated and seen very good results in their mobility and how they feel and how their day-to-day living can go. Again, it's always best to talk with the doctor, but what are we doing? And we think about this in the scope of how this particular therapy aids the body. And I apologize for sounding redundant, but if we're helping the blood oxygenation and we're helping the blood flow, whatever's out of balance in the body leading to some of these problems, this can potentially aid those situations to not be as troublesome. And so we've experienced that. Certainly we had speakers at MagnaCon talking about this delivery of therapy or the energy supplementation to the body helps with some of the effects and some of the issues that they have with Parkinson's and cerebral palsy and various other types of situations. Is it certainly worth trying? For sure. Be something that would be potentially very beneficial to what you're doing. Okay, is there any medical papers on treating humans with organ implants that I can let my client read? I don't know that I'm not aware of any specific studies or research that's been done on people who have had organ transplants. And again, that is specifically a doctor-related type of issue. Is good blood oxygenation important and good blood flow important to people who have had those types of things? I would think it might be very important, but you want to, again, always talk with the doctor before you do any type of relaxation therapy, energy supplementation, whatever you may be applying. I would think it would be how of course, rejection is always an issue when you're dealing with implants and organ transplants and that type of thing. And there's no reason to sit back and think that what we're delivering, the magnetic fields that we're delivering, very similar to what the Earth produces, and the energy that we're supplying to the body would be detrimental to someone in that type situation. But you certainly always want to make sure that you're clearing anything you're talking about or anything that you're doing. But to specifically answer your question, I've not seen a study to that degree. I'll do some research. You can go to the AOPP, the PEMFprofessionals.com website, and search organ transplants and PEMF. And if there have been any studies completed or any observations in that area, you will be able to find that. That's PEMFprofessionals.com. It's the Association of PEMF Professionals group or organization, if you will. And there's a research spot on there where you can search specifically for of the thousands of studies that have been done around the world. Let me check and see if there's anything on the, nope, no messages there for phone calls. Let me check over here to make sure that we're covering all the bases with who's with us. To see if there's any specific questions. Thanks for the folks on CastBox who are listening. We appreciate that. The CastBox is a new form for us to put the program out there for people to learn more and get more information on MagnaWave PEMF and the therapy in general. Let's see, no other questions here in the area that from Facebook and YouTube. We appreciate any questions that you have at that point. Let's see if I've got anything else here. Let's see. Anyone have thoughts on spinous process fracture, T4 L1 in a human? I have the max. Well, Elise, basically treat the area. Use a mat, use the large loop on the area to help comfort the area, to help keep inflammation at bay in the area. And if it's a fracture that needs to heal, the therapy with the improved blood oxygenation and blood flow and molecular movement will certainly give the body a better chance to heal itself with that type of situation that you're dealing with. So appreciate the question. Good question. How long do I wait after my How long should I wait after my 6-month-old puppy got spayed to MagnaWave? Well, once the procedure is complete, there's no fear of bleeding or anything like that. If you're treating, I don't know what you're treating for with a 6-month-old puppy. If it's got issues, arthritic type, that's really. But if it's having issues, then once everything's in control and no bleeding and so forth, you should be free to begin treatments for whatever the reason may be. Misty asked that type of question. So let's see, any medical papers? No other questions there. We've been here about 42 minutes. If you have a question, please post it. I'd be happy to address it. If you'd like to send me a text and have me call you, it's 502-599-9722, 502-599-9722, and I will give you a ring back and we can have a conversation. If you're on CastBox and you want to chat with me, simply tap the phone and I should get a notification and can at that point bring you into the conversation, and hopefully we won't have any problems with the potential feedback at that point in time with the CastBox. But the CastBox is something we're experimenting with. We're going to do other programs at other times in the CastBox area dealing with general health and wellness and PEMF and the whole 9 yards there. So that's just a different area that we want to try to reach out and do as we have these programs. No other questions in YouTube and Facebook. If you have a question, simply put it in there and I would be more than happy to answer it. If not, then we will come back next week and do this again. Let me take a look here and see if there's anything else. Questions on the app. Let's see. Rock Springs. Canker from all 4 surgery. I will be treating a horse that has surgery to remove a canker from all 4 of his hooves. I have read a past post about canker but did not see anything about treating after removal surgery. I have a semi. Any advice? Greatly appreciated. Thank you. Certainly, once the surgery is complete, no bleeding being an issue, treat, because you're going to help reduce inflammation and help the animal to be more comfortable, which is always important after hoof or foot type of situations. You want to keep them comfortable and move the process along in a healthy fashion for comfort. comfort. Okay, here's a question. What is the difference in Gauss strength between the new Julian and the Sol? The Sol, I would say, for conversational purposes, is half of the strength of the Julian or the Pulse Pro, and it's a higher. The Julian and the Pulse Pro are closer to the max in terms of the energy delivery and the Gauss strength, and the Sol is much like the Semi. The Semi comes out about half of what you get from the Maya, and it's the same on the Semi 3 or the Semi 5 is where they are power-wise, and the Sol is right there in that same area. We're getting ready to do official testing of the Sol, actually all of our devices, for an update of the various Gauss levels that are delivered with the devices. But that's the best definition at this point, or best description as to the difference between the Sol and the Julian or the Pulse Pro. Great question. Thanks for asking, Gary. Let's see if there's anything else. Just simply put it in there, and we will be more than happy to answer it. Send for like. I don't know what that is. Someone asked the question on Castbox, but let's see. Let's come back over here. Any other questions? Be happy to answer them. It's been there about 45 minutes, so if you have a question, please put it up, and I'd be happy to answer it. Give you just a second here, and let me check the phone, see if anybody wants to have a visit in that fashion. Nope. Love it. If you call in, I'll give you some MagnaWave gear, but that's okay. We're not trying to force anyone to call or do anything like that. With that said, let's pull out here real quick, and I'll do so they can see the Julian. What's unique about the Julian for us, thank you, Tony. The Julian is an all-terrain type of machine, meaning that it's got larger wheels for going over various terrain. It has the timer that can go up to 90 minutes for a treatment period. Has certainly totally controlled intensity from very low to a higher intensity, certainly on and off buttons, the two buttons you can see, the on and off here, and then the control and then the timer on the bottom. It only weighs about 30 pounds, so it's a very light device. It will fit in many airplane not cargo, but the overhead bin. Now some of the smaller aircraft, that's not an issue. That it is an issue, but at that point you just check it at the gate. But this is the new Julian. We're very happy with it. It's a durable machine. It is rollable. One thing I really like is how this stand on the front actually becomes a handle. Let me knock my water over, but it becomes a handle that you can get a hold of to make it very easy to move around and transport. So that's the new Julian. If you have questions, give us a call at the office or go to the website, and it's on there, and you can fill out some information and talk with a product specialist on the Julian and how may it be beneficial to your needs. Christy, thanks for the comment. Looks great. So there you have the new Julian machine. We're very excited about that. Add that to our product line. Any other questions, please put them up there, let me know, and we'd be more than happy to answer them. Okay, so it's about 10 minutes to the hour, and we've been here for about 50 minutes. Looks like the questions have kind of slowed down and I wish the Max had a 90-minute timer. I know, it's a great question. How does the Julian compare to the Max? The primary difference, they're very similar in their output strength, but the difference is that the Julian's highest repetition of rate is about 2 clicks per second, whereas the Max will get down to 1 click per second, which makes it a little more intense. I would say that there's probably a difference between the Julian and the Max of 10% potentially in terms of what's delivered, 10 to 15% of what's delivered into the system. Ideally, that would make no difference at all when you get up to the higher end of what you need the energy for on the treatments that you're delivering. And that's the basic thing. They're both very durable units. The Max weighs more. The Max weighs about twice what the Julian weighs. The engineers that designed the Julian worked very hard for a few years to work with components that they could put this together in a lighter fashion, so it does not to weigh as much. We've had very good durable testing with the Julian, and the PMF Solutions people who manufacture it have been testing for that. The Max, as we know, is flat built like a tank, and it takes all types of abuse and so forth. And that's one of the strong points of the Max is its stability in that regard. We certainly think that the Julian is right there, but that's, could that be a potential difference? Not that we've recognized at this point in the rollout of the device and as it's accepted and utilized. So that's the comparison at this point between Julian seems like a dream. I've used the Max and the Pulse Centers XL Pro. In my mind, the spark chamber seems to work much more effectively than the computer chip sparks. Well, great question, Gary. A lot of people prefer a spark chamber signal over the digital signal. The difference is the digital signal is a little softer in most cases, and a lot of people like that. The signal that they're delivering is very similar. It's just a matter of what people like, and you may find that you see a better, more enhanced result using a spark chamber. Certainly the spark chamber has been the technology that's been around since the beginning, when Nikola Tesla first started doing this type of work and these types of devices. It's always been a spark chamber type of thing. Now, I'm sure that as they develop the digital devices, how the signal is produced, how it is delivered, how it is controlled, a lot of that is more precise in the digital devices, and they're certainly going to find ways of improving that along the way, or not that it needs to be, just helping that along and finding out what they can do differently. Jason Bill, I'll be with Becky. Will there be an adjustable timer for the Max? Well, the Max has a timer at this point from 1 to 10 minutes. We've had some requests to change that. The factory will do that. If someone wanted a machine, they were going to buy it new and have it shipped from the factory, it'd be conceivable to have the timer adjusted at factory before it leaves. I'm probably going to be in trouble for saying that, because then that's questions everybody's going to be asking. But at this point, the factory, as I understand it, has no intention of changing how they set their timers on the Max as a regular thing. But I do know that we have a person who's going to return their Max who has the Wave Oasis bed, and they want to be able to run the Max for 30 minutes without having to restart it, and they're going to send their machine to the factory and have the timer adjusted and changed to be able to do that. A couple $100 is what it's going to cost them, and they'll be able to get the time that they want. Let's see. I'm with Becky. All right. Jason, I hope you're feeling better. Let me know how you're doing, Jason, how things are going on your recovery. I have a potential client that is on a weekly chemo shot. He has multiple myeloma, IgM treatable, not curable. What questions do we need to ask his doctor to see if we can have MagnaWave treatments? Well, you want to just explain it to the doctor what you're doing. You're improving oxygenation, improving blood flow in the body. The weekly chemo injection in the United States with PEMF, a lot of times the theory from the doctors has been to treat after the chemotherapy. So let's say as a chemo shot on Monday, you might begin treatments on Wednesday for the remainder of the week if it's a weekly type of situation, but you want to talk that with the doctor. Typically when in other countries in the world, they'll treat during the chemo application. The big fear with chemo is that a lot of times we are helping the body assimilate or metabolize the medications that we're giving, and if they're on a chemo type of process, a lot of times people don't feel good. They get sick, and so we don't want to do anything to enhance the discomfort someone may feel in their life when they're receiving chemo. So that's kind of been the policy, or the guideline, not policy, but the guideline in the U.S. for treatments, and a lot of doctors understand that. A lot of doctors are good with that, they do the chemo. Once the chemo treatment's over for 28, 48 hours, then they can treat for a week or two until they go back for more chemo. A weekly chemo situation is not a situation that would be wrong to treat. You just want to make sure that everybody understands what the situation would be. Okay, let's see. Potential client. That's with the chemo situation. If you have questions, simply put them up there. I'd be happy to answer them at this point. Let's see. Everything looks quiet over here. If you have any additional questions, simply put them up there, and I'd be happy to answer. Again, you can do it on YouTube, Facebook, or now in the CastBox app if you have that. And join us with CastBox. Replay it on CastBox where you have them have the broadcast reposted. Any chance that the attachments are going to be longer, it's hard to treat a horse. Dawn, you should have 12-foot leads on your attachments. If you want them longer, we do have an extender. You can get a 4 or 5 foot extension that can be attached to your coils and make them longer. Those are available. If you'd like have one of those made for you, simply call the office and talk to Lee, and we can facilitate that happening to get you an extender on your device, so if you want to be more comfortable as you're using it. Jason says he's doing well, still waiting on the next surgery to reinstall the new prosthetic knee. Oh my goodness. Right now I have an antibiotic spacer in the knee, so I'm basically attached to a walker until the next surgery. Thank you for checking in with me. Well, Jason, I'm glad to hear that you're doing better and looking forward to the next part of your deal. That's amazing. Jason had a knee, and if I get this wrong, Jason, let me know, but Jason had a knee replacement, I'm going to say a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, and it developed some infection as he went along, so they had to go in and take it out and put, as he says, put this spacer in, get rid of the infection, get everything stabilized, and then go back and put in the new prosthetic. What a deal. And for someone as active as Jason has been, to be in his situation attached to a walker like that is not fun. And certainly Jason's in our thoughts and prayers as his healing process continues in that situation. And he's always good to keep us up to speed as to how he's doing and what's going on. So Jason, hope everything works out the way I know the way you want it to, and you'll heal and everything will be great. All right, let's see here. Just checking. Let me check one more time quickly. Nothing there at CastBox. Questions look like they're wrapped up on Facebook and YouTube. Oh, let's see. I use the extender. Oh, Jason uses the extender and it works great, so the machine is not in the stall with a rowdy horse. So there you go. Jason's one that has an extender and uses it regularly. And so if you'd like to have something like that, again, call the office, talk to Lee. We'll get you taken care of and get you whatever we can do to help your process and your delivery of this therapy and energy delivery to be as effective as possible. Okay, we're about out of time, so thank you so much for joining me today. We'll be back on Tuesday for more office hours, and look forward to us announcements where we'll be having some more CastBox exclusive programs dealing with health and wellness and the application of PMF therapy along the way. I'm Pat Zemer from MagnaWave. Have a great week. Wave on to better health, and we'll catch you later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.